All right. Well, welcome everyone. This is round 4 of the North American Youth Chess Championships. Very excited to be back with commentary. Hopefully no glitches today and everything goes according to plan. Let's get started with the open section. Guess nobody's here to test things with me, so I've never been this worried in my life. Okay. I believe everything will go well. I'm just gonna think that everything goes well because I do see US chess being connected. You guys, one moment. Yes. If there's someone new, could you please let me know that you can hear me okay and everything is fine? My restream does not show me that I'm live on US Chess Twitch channel, but I mean, I see that it is live. So I don't know what the issue is. But I would appreciate anyone who's here to just say something so that I can be more calm. Anyways, round 4 of the North American Youth Championships. Very excited to be back with another hopefully exciting day of commentary. Yesterday we saw Zoe drawing the highest rated player in the field, and now she's back, looks like, on board 1. This time she's paired against Aditya Das. And we have here a Sicilian, the classical Sicilian, bishop g5, bishop d7, transposing to a Richter-Rauser, queen d2, rook c8 castle, and I think this is still quite some theory. f3 g6, and now we're gonna see bishop g7, and with opposite side castling. Potentially, if black is gonna castle, maybe black will keep the king in the center for a bit longer, but I'm anticipating some attacking ideas for white here. Let's catch up with board 2, where we have, oops, we have Aaron Mendez playing against Matthew Guo. And we have another Sicilian. It's actually quite interesting, actually, to see this the small border, because, you know, the pawn is in a6, the pawn is on e6, but we got b3. We don't have. Did you play your game online? Or is it an online game, or is it are you playing in the North American? Is your game live? Kun, is your game live? Hey, Tors, may I ask your help, please? Restream is acting out, so I just wanted to make sure that you can hear me just as good on US Chess Twitch channel. Would you mind just going there for a second and just making sure that you can hear me as good as you hear me here? I would really appreciate it, Tors. Which one is your game, Kun? I'll be gladly looking at your game, yes, of course. By the way, today I decided to go for a chess mug. Since I know we have had mug talks in the past. Bishop b2, d5, transposing into some kind of French pawn structure. It works on US chess. Okay, so Restream is just acting out. Okay, because I had an issue. First I won live and it only went on US chess, and then I thought I fixed it, and then it shows me that US chess is not live. So I'm just like, I was just panicking there for a second. Okay, castle, bishop e7, knight e5. Okay, so white needs to trade that knight in order to be able to kind of open up their bishop. And I think eventually this bishop will go to a3 to put pressure in c5. Maybe b4 ideas are also possible for white at some point in time. And yeah. Okay, queen there, rook b8, and yeah. Okay, this is interesting. The thing is that if black plays, this is basically what's happening. If black plays this move, white is happy because they trade the bishop. You can't take with the queen because the rook is hanging. So you have to take with the king. And then also, you know, this pawn is hanging. But black is going to play king f8 because there's nothing else to do. And there's nothing wrong with the king. Well, temporary, it looks a bit suspicious, but this queen can be chased away. And black is going to castle by foot, right? g6, bishop g7, king g7. Maybe move the knight and play h6, bring the king to h7. I think this is going to be a perfectly fine position. As for white, you know, we'll have to figure out a way to develop these pieces. Personally, I would go c3, but of course d3, knight d2 is also an option to continue the development. All right, moving on to the next board. Unless Kun Worm is going to tell me what game he or she played so that I can look at that game. So here we had a Caro, and I always love seeing Caros because that's where I know more things. Because I played myself with the black pieces. Knight takes e4, knight f6, knight takes f6, e takes f6, c3. Okay. This is quite a typical line, and we'll see. Bishop f5. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Bishop f5 is nice, because if you play bishop f5, you're not allowing white to go bishop d3. There are some lines where they put pressure in h7, but placing the bishop there is going to keep the position totally safe, so you're good. You good. Okay, knight g3, bishop back. Now bishop d3, okay, switching over. And castle. Okay, white can attempt some queen c2 to put pressure. And actually in some other lines where white would consider castling long, there was h5, but here I think black can probably simply play h6. I wouldn't recommend playing g6 because you are leaving a bit of squares behind, and you might need to play f5, which will allow your bishop in e6 to be weak, but you know, this can happen too. So castle. And we have the current position. If I were black, I'd probably go knight d7 and consider training that bishop in h6. It is a bit annoying, you know, so we want to try to find ways to get rid of it if possible. While keeping our king safe, of course. And here we got Shonak. Shonak has had a tough loss yesterday, I remember. But he might be trying to come back. So what have we had here? Some g3 King's Indian transposing into a Benoni, which wasn't really like a Benoni because, you know, no d5 was played. Now, not all the time people will go for the space advantage. Sometimes you can go for the space advantage, other times you don't need to. And here c4 is, I I remember I've attempted some of these things and then capture with the knight and stuff, but personally, like, I like my space. So anytime I have the chance to go d5, I definitely will go for it. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's a matter of preference, I guess, is what you want to do next. But you know, this is a good position for white, slightly better due to this pawn in the center and the control over d5. You won't be able to play e5, so you'll have to, you know, accept to just play d6. And I think Fischer was playing these kind of positions quite a bit. You can get them from an English as well when you're just playing, right, c4, c5. Like if I were to kind of put those moves here, right, c4, c5, knight f3, knight f6, g3, g6, bishop g2, bishop g2, bishop g7, castle, castle, or not castle, and then d4, right? So on a different move order, you can get that. Now you can get it also if black didn't castle and has the 19c6. I remember I attempted these things. And black, if I was playing this with black, I would sometimes play with like e6, knight e7 for the purpose of keeping this bishop open so that I would control the d4 square. So there are various things that black can do, but depending on the move order, of course, you know, you may get something interesting or not. Okay, so knight takes d4. The point of that move is that there's this pawn sacrifice that you can do with black. I believe Fischer was playing it. And you give up a pawn, but the idea is that you do have a bit of activity on b2, and then you'll go queen a5, and it's not so easy for white to really develop. It's not super easy to develop. I mean, you will eventually, but I remember I played this game once against Jesse Cry, and it did not go very well for me. Next time I played something better, and I was able to draw with white. But the first time I had played, I went for the pawn, and it was hard for me to figure out how to hold on to it. So, you know, whenever you go for material gain, just make sure you're considering what you're gonna do next. And here, okay, with black, the black is saying, I don't want to give up the pawn. You're the higher rated player. Why get into an unclear position already now? Let's try to play some chess. So he goes d6. The queen has to leave from this diagonal eventually because there will be some discovered attack. So queen h4, and I see Shonak went for the trade of the bishops, and now, okay, it's got to protect this pawn. I'm thinking maybe b3. It could be played here by white, and maybe put the rook on the d file. And we have some ideas with attack, but I think it's kind of slow. So he might end up doing stuff in the center with e4, f4, something, maybe f5. Cool. Moving on to the next. Oh, no moves coming from this game. Maybe they were late to the game still, but it's 9:40. Do they think the round is at 10? Maybe one of those players thought the round is at 10, because yesterday it was at 10. So maybe they read the invitation of the tournament in a wrong way, and now, oopsie, that's not gonna be very good. So okay, we have another King's Indian, h3. Okay, h3, knight d7, knight f3, e5, d5. Okay, I don't think I've attempted this line before. There's so many lines that you can play, but okay. And yep, yeah, like this is a nice idea because, you know, if ever you go f4, that bishop will open up, so a3 will be coming in handy to weaken white's king, which will definitely castle on this side of the board. I've seen people kind of going h4 at some point, and then that's met by h5 and g5, and then things close down there. You think you can go f4, but no. So that's why I'm showing you these lines, so that it makes sense what to expect. I don't think I've ever seen white castling short after going g4, but it could happen too, I guess. You could go bishop g2 castle. No, there will be sacrifices, right? What do you guys think? I think there will be sacrifices. I think you can get quite scared, so we'll be back. We'll be back. I want to see this because I'm always looking for new improvements against the King's Indian. And I know you're gonna think it's kind of strange that I say this, but kids these days get a lot of preparation. They spend a lot of time online. So while in the past I was told, hey Sabina, you gotta go check out the most recent top player games, those fancy tournaments like Ember or Vaikanze, and there's so many others that were taking place in Monaco or something. Now, I feel that I can safely say that following some games by some young talented players could could help you out to figure out whether a line is good or not and just get some inspiration, because I know kids these days work very hard, and their coaches are helping them out. Maybe they themselves, they feel to spend a lot of time on various openings and improve, and like where we should learn from the kids too. Why is it that only they can learn from us, right? So we have the Scotch Gambit, Queen E2. Oh, knight. Yeah. I used to play this with black. Well, I played one game, and now I can say I used to. But yeah, basically the idea is you take the pawn and then you definitely need to make this maneuver to protect the pawn and try to stop this from advancing. You also may push d6 or d5 at some point and get your development. And now we'll see. At some point, white needs to take here, whether with a knight or with a pawn. It has to take the pawn back and then proceed with the development, while white will have a knight qp, but the development might turn out to be pretty good. So we'll see. We'll see how this game continues. Did we have another English? Another English for white side. Black is getting this Queen's Gambit declined / Tarrasch setup. Takes a6, Queen's Gambit declined, yeah. And then once some b5, bishop b7, c5, and just gain a bit more space on the queen side. Very typical kind of approach. Bishop d3. Yeah, the bishop could go back and d4, but you need to be mindful when you do that, because d4 will close the bishop in b2. So it's a given yet. No moves coming from that game. Steven, let's see how Steven is doing. You guys may remember Steven oftentimes stops on the stream to say hi and stuff. So let's see. What is he doing with the white pieces? London's taking over. The London system is taking over. It's really funny because when I did this short interviews with the players in St. Louis, some of them were like, when I asked what's the best or worst openings, one of them was like, London, the worst. London is the worst. Which is really funny because that answer is really, like, what does that answer really tell you? What does it mean is the worst opening? It's not like, I don't know. It's not the end of the world if you play the London or play against it. So it's really not an objective question. But anyways, everyone would have their own answer. I have attempted to play the London myself on quite a few occasions, and I gotta say I've got some nice wins. There are various ideas in the London that you need to keep in mind, and people sometimes forget that it's not just about one idea. It's more ideas, and it depends what black does too. Sometimes we're just focused on what we want to do, and then we forget that the opponent may want to do things too. So in this situation, like, some ideas are to place a knight in e5 and go f4. Some ideas are to actually go with e4, right? After the castling, you want to do that to open up your bishop, get your queen to e2, and put pressure on black's king. And some other ideas, when black doesn't go with c5, you might go c4 yourself. So you have various ideas, and you need to adapt to black's responses as well. It's not just one setup. People seem to forget that occasionally, and well, that doesn't lead to the best things. f4. Yeah, I used to play this line. This was the first line that I had against the London for black. The idea is you're moving the knight away from the diagonal so that the bishop can control the e5 square. With the knight there, you're controlling it so you can place the knight there at some point to block white's attack towards your king. And this knight can come towards g6 or f5 to block a potential attack on h7. Now I see white played queen f3, but there are sometimes ideas with queen b1 to put pressure there. And then what white wants to do is put this bishop in h4 in order to eliminate the knight from f6. And just because this bishop is, you just closed it, you brought it there, so excited, the bishop will be good, and suddenly you play f4 to close it, right? So now you're looking for ways to get that bishop into play, and bishop h4 does just that, right? Because we're gonna trade, and then, yeah, everything will go well. Maybe London is the most annoying. Hey, thanks, Narcissus Down. Yeah, I mean, it's annoying for some, but what some don't like, others like, you know, it's kind of like in life. If everyone would love just the same thing, everyone would just buy that same thing. I'm not gonna name names, but think about some sodas, for example. There are various brands that make similar kind of sodas. Some people like one, some the other. I like both. Well, I used to drink both. I shouldn't say I like them because I don't drink them anymore, but I used to drink both and I couldn't tell the difference. So there are people like me too who don't care, but there are some people who do care and can really taste the difference between various things, right? So, you know, you gotta find your own pace, and even if you don't like something, you gotta try to adapt. Like try to understand why you don't like it and see if you can find some ways to work around it, because, you know, but there's always something else that can happen, so don't panic. Okay, so after knight f5, it kind of makes sense to take the knight at some point, but I'm not sure if just yet. Actually, I'm not sure I like queen f3 yet. Maybe bishop h4, but then knight f5 anyways, or knight g6. Okay, so he took, okay, and long castle. Okay, this is a new idea to me, this long castle. I've castle long in the past playing the London, but I'm still thinking whether I like it here or not. It might be fine. Maybe we will have some ideas with g4. Maybe black will play b5, b4. Okay, we'll be back to this game of Stevens. Felix against Wesley, another Sicilian, this time the Alapin. And for those of you who don't know, okay, you're seeing this the first time, you're looking at the game, you suddenly see this pawn in e4 being attacked, and you see white playing h3, and now black does not take the pawn, okay? Make sure you think why that doesn't happen. Now, some of you here are way more advanced. If there's anyone who's weaker, right, that is the process that you want to do. Just ask yourself why this didn't happen. Anytime you're looking at a game, try to understand why a specific move was played and why a move that you were thinking about was not. Maybe there's nothing wrong with it, and then, you know, you spend the time there, you can't see anything, you move on. Maybe there is, like there is here. Look at this. The knight is not protected. The king is wide open, right? So this is a very famous Sicilian trap. Alapin Sicilian, queen a4 check, grabs the knight, and oopsie, you want a pawn, but you're losing your knight. So every time you're watching a game, ask yourself questions. That's the only way that things will be processed in your head. Just watching games like that randomly without really understanding what you're seeing is not going to benefit you very much. So I want to make sure that I discuss that, I address that when I do commentary. And that's why I try to explain things, even if it seems sometimes super basic, because I don't know my audience all the time. And I want you guys to remember to do those things, because it really helps with memorization. It really helps a lot. You will see. Now, these ideas with bishop d3, right? They're a bit scary because you put the bishop in front of a pawn, but this bishop goes right back to c2, and then the d pawn will be pushed. So you're wasting a move, but you want to make sure you have the bishops placed here. And now there's really a threat to take the pawn. So the question is, do you play d3 and then, you know, it will take you some time to figure out how to go d4 later? Or do you play this move bishop d3 to waste one move, but now you'll be able to play d4 because this pawn is protected and you also have developed your bishop, which will allow your castling very soon. Looks like Felix is not trying to castle just yet, but at some point he will, and the position will be quite interesting. What we've reached right now is a Philidor position with reverse colors. When I say those things to some of my students, I notice it's difficult for them to make that switch in their head. And if that is the case, if you can somehow set up this position and next to it set up a position from the opening that I suggest, obviously with the correct colors, right, how it is played, and just try to see how it's switched. Obviously, when you're playing with white, you have the king on the right side. When you're playing with the black pieces, it's on the left side. So it's gonna be a bit flipped over, but it's gonna be the same pawn structure. And when you are comparing those things, you'll notice there are so many similarities between some openings that you didn't even know that you could play with the other color. And you feel that it's totally new and scary, when in fact you actually know it, you just haven't really assimilated that difference. So if you can try to keep that into mind, please do so. You'll see it's going to be really, really good. So here we got the, I think it's called the Monte Carlo or something. It's not the Panov. With c4 is against the Caro. This is called the Monte Carlo here, and basically white is trying to just get a bit more space from this exchange French, and we'll stay with an isolated pawn, but we'll try to develop, put some pressure on black's king. Bishop g4, I guess black did not want to check, probably because of bishop e3. Doesn't do anything. White will castle the next move. A bishop g4 castle, and now, yeah, and this position is it's quite equal. Black will try to put pressure while white is trying to get rid of this bishop, utilize that square if possible. And yeah, first get rid of the bishop to see if black will give up the bishop pair or just go back. One or the other will happen. Okay. This was just a gioco. Gioco piano. Pianissimo. Pianissimo is when they play with d3, piano when they go to d4. And white, this is the kind of opening where you do a bunch of maneuvers. You can get more space on the queen side, which is what white did. This rook comes to a2 and will slide over wherever it's needed. Okay, lots of trades, and we have currently this position, which is kind of equal right now. Now this, I want to know what it was. Oh, Sicily. Oh, okay. Now this is a new one for me. I don't believe I've seen this move being played. Knight f6. Knight f6 with a tempo. I guess a move like 94 or knight g4 would not do much, because right now look at where's the knight going next. Got nowhere to go, and white is gonna chase it away. So that's why black does not attempt those attacks. But white could have potentially created a few weaknesses for themselves. Okay, this is a nice maneuver. And now the other knight will probably come into play. Knight 92. 92, maybe knight b3 or 94, putting pressure in the center. Okay. Trying to do a brief overview of all the openings so that we can kind of have an idea what we missed. Yeah, it was my mistake because I didn't realize that it doesn't use Restream. I thought I was live earlier, and it was just live on US Chess. So the only way I could redo it is turning off and back on. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is some kind of Grunfeld setup from black side. Grunfeld slash Catalan. And white needs to find a way to get the pawn back. Queen e2 is probably something that he wants 95 to get it back. That pawn will be captured. Lots of games are missing, guys. I don't know what's going on. I think the players are not there. Actually, I can send a message to find out. I'll find out. So we have on a interesting move order, we have here um some kind of a Benoni, I would say, like King's Indian Benoni, right? And black is gonna try to support b5 and white is trying to stop him. Bishop d3. Yeah, this allows c4. Very important. So small mistake here by Ilanli Mehmet. Because, you know, like if you take this bishop somewhere, it should be in e2 typically, but right now, of course, there was a threat, so you couldn't do that. So you need to find a way to protect the pawn. I think queen d2 is one way to do it. I think should be fine because we are indirectly protecting the pawn in e4 by escaping this pin. So now there's no threat to the pawn. Maybe queen d3 could work as well. Maybe not. Maybe he can still take. Yeah, you're right. Queen d2 does allow b5. It does allow b5. Very nicely said, Joe. So what is the best move for white? Oh, it's knight d2, I think, right? This is knight d2. I think this is the move. Knight d2. I haven't seen queen a5 being played before in this position. That's why I'm... What is the problem with bishop d3? c4, c4. So black kind of gets some counterplay there. I'll show how the game actually went with c4. Knight d2 to go knight c4 or knight b3, chase this queen away. Well, somewhere at least, or at least simply play that move to escape the spin. And you can go bishop d3 after. So if they castle, now you can go bishop d3 and then you can castle and eventually you will chase that queen away. Yeah, so let's see what happened after bishop d3 c4 was played. Now your bishop has to move and knight takes e4, right? So black utilizes the pin to be able to grab that central pawn. And isn't it better to have a central pawn than a side pawn? Of course it's better, right? So now after knight takes castle, and black is up a pawn. White is a bit ahead in development, but black is up a pawn for now. This is an important move because if you guys look at this position, you will realize black has a threat after queen takes c3. Black wants to take this rook, right? So if we just play some, okay, bishop move for white, right, to protect that bishop, right? Because there's this threat and then this threat, right? So queen e2 protects both. But let's see. So if bishop b3, queen takes a1. And this is so easy to forget that like, you think your rook is protected, but there's a bishop, so you actually lose an exchange. So please be mindful about stuff like that. That's why white played queen in 2, and I really like it. Castle. Now, of course, white might want to take that pawn, but hey, this bishop is hanging, so bishop b3. Okay, bishop e3 has a threat. Maybe there was something better here for black. Oh, I needed to tell them which games are not showing. Board 17 doesn't show. What other board do we have that doesn't show? Board 12. Board 9. And board 5. Let's refresh and see if they show now. Still not. Okay, sorry. Let me go back to that game I didn't finish. I just want to make sure that that we get all the boards by the time. So, what have we had here? I don't know. So I was saying I don't know if bishop b3 was necessarily the best. Maybe rook b1 could be an interesting idea to try to do this. But just kind of. Oh, but yeah. White has some compensation, but so he finally took the pawn. Now he wants some rook e3. Very nice rook e3. I like it because it stops black from considering, you know, to take here and mess up the pawns. Oh. Bishop f6. Interesting. Can we come up with something cool in this position? Why to move and win something? What's the best way? Hi, Aliat. How are you doing? So we can do this also, right? Takes, and now move the rook somewhere, maybe on 7th rank. I mean, oh, actually, could we go here instead? It's much nicer. If you go there, bam. If you go king f8, check. Just starting your day. Nice. One moment. All right. So it seems that there's some issue with the transmission of those games, and but they are on Lichess, so I will try to attempt to get the Lichess on to see what's been going on there, but yeah, I won't be able to show them to you guys on Lichess because we can't just change the streams like that. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on the girl section after this game, after we catch up with this, and then And then we'll see what other games are missing, and then I can probably pull them up from Lichess. I just can't switch between Lichess and chess.com. Okay. So, what did we say? Takes the queen. This is one way to do it, right? And then come back rook e3. If the bishop moves, this is hanging. If not, we have ideas of bishop f6. Oh, h6. Something else, like originally I was thinking maybe I could take here, but then I realized, wait, it's not really so great because knight takes, and when I take, bishop takes, so this does not do as much. So I think just simply taking the queen would have been a much better choice for white. Other moves, I don't see other moves that make as much sense to me in this moment. Okay. At least we know that those people did show up to the game and everything is fine. So we caught up with everything. Oh, I'm having the wrong chat here open. Good. Hi there, Mike. We caught up with everything besides those games that are not live. So let's pick the games in the girls section. So look at, let's see how many of these games are here. Are all of them here? No, here are missing games too. Something's wrong with, because it's exactly the same ones that are missing. Almost. Yeah. This is not good. But I can't change. I have to stay on chess.com. I cannot change. Alright, so we have Jasmine, who's the highest rated player in the section, playing against Elena Zheng. And they started into a Sveshnikov variation of the Sicilian. This is a pretty sharp one, so you go e5, you're leaving this pawn behind, you're giving up the outpost for the purpose of developing a bit faster and chasing this knight away from the center. Bishop g5, so this is all theory. I remember I've seen this so many times. That much that I was thinking to play it myself. c3 or c4. c4 is also a plan for white in the position, because of course if you take, you have the opportunity to take with the knight or with the bishop, but the knight could also be you know, a piece that comes to help support the pawn in the center. Most people that I've seen, there are way more games with c3 than c4, but both of them are good. The highest rated has not titled yet. Yeah, she doesn't, but I think she's probably going for WIM or WGM. She's a young, talented girl. I know whom. She works with a strong grandmaster, famous coach in the US. So definitely has got quite a bit of, you know, nice future if she continues to stay in the game and continues to improve. So the idea is here, for those of you who don't know, this knight is coming towards e3 to support this one in the center. You don't want to get rid of the knight. If they come to trade it, you want to always have a piece there. So when white goes knight c2 and has this idea, black plays bishop g5 immediately to control the diagonal. So whenever you put the knight here, they just take it. They don't want that knight to make it to help support this one in the center. Besides, normally this bishop can just magically take the knight in d5. So what you will do instead is you will try to get rid of this other one so that this one it doesn't get extra support, and then your remaining two minor pieces can trade this. So now white played a4. Sometimes there's an h4 that's being played, so just giving up the pawn so that this knight can come here, but not in this game. Not yet, at least. Bam, bam. And now white develops very, very naturally. Finally, knight e3 was played, I see, and knight e7. I'm not surprised. There's no trade. Sometimes you see this trade immediately because, you know, the whole point is that you get to trade quite a bit of minor pieces, and then you'll try to figure out a way to do this. But the reason black didn't do it is probably was thinking, wait, how do I protect this pawn now? That stays like a backwards weak pawn. which white may be able to capture. So, okay, you don't need to trade just yet, but usually if you take in e3, it's for that purpose. So before taking in e3, black is preparing, as you can see, just offering some nitrate. Castle. Now she takes. And queen c7, right? So now with these two minor pieces controlling d5, black can bring a few more pieces. Maybe d5 will be played, or maybe some more pieces will be traded. And okay, we're anticipating pawn takes, and you know, I think black should have taken in c4 earlier, because now this pawn will be weak. I'm not sure how d5 will be played. This pawn is also weak, and under some circumstances a queen can come to put to put pressure on it, and you might need to choose a piece to leave it weak, to leave it protected, and then it has to stay there. Okay. Queen's gambit declined, transferred into an accepted one. But now there's a knight in f3, right? So that means that the line with e3 doesn't go that well. This is a very sharp one. But Laura decided to go for e3 instead. It's an attempt to take the pawn. You got no way to protect it. White will take it back, develop a new piece, castle, and the game goes on. Okay, so c5. Bishop takes c4, knight c6, castle takes. Okay. So black is not even taking the bishop out to e7. Usually I see one more move after castle, like bishop e7 or something. And then when black castles here, white goes rook d1, the idea of pinning the pawn and then being able to recapture later, right? Because otherwise you would just lose material. But it seems that here white didn't get the chance to go queen e2, but it means also black captured a bit soon, because this allows white to recapture with the pawn and open up this bishop faster. In my mind, what's more uncomfortable for white is for black to just continue developing, like a6, b5, bishop b7, bishop e7. Just take some pieces out and keep this tension here. Do not take in d4 too soon. As soon as you capture in d4, guess what happens? Obviously, pawn takes, and the bishop opens up. So if you hold on to that, tension, then the bishop is delayed to developing, which delays white's potential attacking ideas, right? So you gotta think, what is it that you want? Bishop e7, rook e1. And black castled. Why did white take in d5? Because this helps black get this bishop opened. White should not mind this trade. This actually helps white get rid of the isolated pawn. But this is a threat. Should we just go queen d3? Both seem to know this variation. Wait, where did I miss the chat? Was it about this one, or do you mean the other one? I think you meant the other game, right? Mike and North is down. I think you meant the other game, and I was so focused on this that I forgot. Like bishop e1, maybe. Yeah, the Sveshnikov. Yeah. That's what I thought. This would be my choice, and if you go g6, then on bishop h6. Slight advantage for white. This is interesting. So it started as a Nimzo, right? And see, white decided, you know what, I don't want the bishop there now that the d5 has been played, because if you take, these pawns will be traded, so white is not worried about the fact that they got the double pawns, right? But black decided to just go back to e7, and that seems potentially like a loss of a tempo, but maybe not really. Now white's plans will be with, well, it's not easy to, maybe this bishop will maneuver like this, or maybe we'll just play b3, bishop b2. Both of them are possible, right? Check over again. We have a lot of checkovers or queen takes d4 lines that I haven't seen in a long time, actually. I mean, I've seen, but not as much, technically, so, yeah. Apparently there's some mistake. I don't know why. Is there some sacrifice or something that white could have, or is it just like a normal? Yeah, rook e1 seems fine. But is there some sacrifice in e6? I mean, I don't know, I'm just asking. Takes this? No. This is not enough. This is not enough. Maybe this can, or first king f7. Get the rook out and black would be fine. Okay, not 96. What about knight b3? Still not as worrisome, seems like. Because if we take, there's also bishop takes e3, which is... So what's happening here? Bishop takes, bishop takes. What can one white do here to maintain +1? Is it e5? But everything gets traded? No. e5 is right. Oh, is there something on the d file? Can we take now? Because if pawn takes, of course, is game over, right? Because we take the rook. And if rook takes... Checky? So you don't castle anymore. Now if I take, you have to take with a queen, and I think you might be fine. I don't have any checks or anything. But maybe, just maybe, I can just maybe take here. Oh, this looks like a nice idea for white, because the rook is hanging, and there's a back rank issue. So what do you do here? This is not easy. This is not easy at all. But the way things were played, white missed the opportunity to go for that. Instead did something different. And now, okay. I don't know that is the same thing. If you take, it is, right? Because check here and takes. And white is winning probably. But after e5, there's a better move for black here that keeps the position safe. What is that move? Could it be bishop back to d8? No. Just bishop e7? Yeah. And if you take, we take back, no problem. Oh, this is nice. So missing such an opportunity, white may miss, the advantage now. Bishop e7 just keeps everything safe. Okay. This looks like a Spanish, yeah, Lopez. Typical stuff with d4, bring the bishop back, capturing the center. Okay. This is quite a typical position between Chloe and Julian. White will develop, has some opportunities to bring the knight this side of the board. Yeah, slight advantage, very slight for white. Oh my goodness, how did we get here? Sicilian, the dragon Sicilian. Okay, this is theory. d5, black is attempting the equalization, right? Here. I think this is a line. Like, look at these girls, they knew everything. How many moves is this? Check. I think this is still theory. Queen takes. First mistake. First mistake. I'm not even sure. Was it this? Probably. This is the move. First mistake here. Queen takes. And this endgame is probably better for white. But I don't know how much better. Very little. This knight is somewhat trapped. Like if you go here, do we go bishop a6? But bishop a6, that'll be b4. Trying to go b5. Scary, scary. Things are happening now. I don't know. So rook takes a7 and... Okay. Somehow probably black needs to... Oh, but wait. If I go here... If you move the knight, I'm taking this pawn too. So black needs to protect that pawn first. But if she plays bishop a6, we just take it, right? And this is winning for white. Extra up on exchange. So what is black's best move in this position? Is it knight e3 to try to get this pawn? So if you take, we go bishop c6. Yeah. We'll have to come back to this game and see whether white with the rook will be able to kind of support their passed pawns and push forward, or the two minor pieces will actually have brought some ideas into the game. So we have had another Sicilian, lots of Sicilians today. It's nice to see. Oh, Rowan Soraya, I remember her. She had unfortunately a tough loss yesterday, but today she's back into some kind of dragon stuff. Everything is covered. So why can't we take? We can, but obviously don't make this blunder, right? Because I think... I don't know how blunders, but black is up a pawn. So f takes g6. I would have taken here, I think. But white took in h7. But you know what I always tell you, whenever the opponent gets a pawn really close to your king, you can get in front of it. Don't take it back. Use it as a shield to keep your king safe. Yeah. The problem is here, black has a bishop for 3 pawns, but I have the feeling those 2 bishops will be quite valuable for black. We'll come back to that game and see how it proceeds. What was this? Some English? Ready. Oh actually surprised black took with the knight, not with the pawn. Probably she was a bit worried about this kind of idea, but the bishop can go back to b8, chase the knight away, and then you're coming right back. It's just temporary that you have to move it back. Okay, this is a typical position resulting from an English. This looks like UGA. No. Oh, Janowski. This was popular a few years back. I think Carlsen started playing it first, or one of the first ones, and then it kind of got super popular. The idea is just don't take the knight out to f6 too soon, so that you don't allow white to pin you. That's basically it. But now, also of course, you have ideas to take the pawn in c4 and then go b5 and try to keep it defended, of course. Okay, we'll be back to that. This is not get into a fried liver. This is a typical idea. And what I've seen actually more recently, people play this move queen f3, and it's a lot of analysis to do in this position to figure out whether you give up the exchange and stuff or not. I feel a bit uncomfortable when queen f3 is played, so try to sometimes avoid this line. I don't play knight f6 always. That's why I sometimes play bishop c5 instead of knight f6 to avoid this line. But I know I've had some students and kept trying to analyze and help them out to get some decent positions, but it seems so unclear. Like one move wrong and the evaluation can change. Okay, so we'll see this move very soon, and then probably white needs to try to develop fast. Threatens there, develop the knight if possible. Of course, we have some other placement for the queen. I just didn't like a move like this because I thought rook e8 will have some discovery, but maybe we're not worried. Maybe you can go some queen e6. Okay, Amy's playing the London here as well, 95. Yeah. So notice whenever black does queen c7 bishop here to control that square, white needs to put a piece on e5, or else after knight c6 you won't be able to, because black will have sufficient control. Every single system has some kind of background story as to why specific moves are made, so you need to kind of have an idea. Bishop e2, b5. Okay, so notice she went back compared to the other game where that didn't quite happen. The bishop made it to c3. Also, this was pushed, which blocks the position, so now black's attack will have to be with a5, b4. As for white will try g4 and start a kingside attack. Ah, this is nice. b4 is always nice. This is the move. If you want to play b4, this is the moment to do it. If you don't do it now, you know, the bishop there'll be a discovered attack. And if you go a5 with black, typically white responds with b5, just passes by you, gives the position closed, followed by a4, bishop a3, bishop e2, and continue the improvement. Okay, I love the setup for white. Just getting into a kind of Botvinnik system because the bishop was traded, so now we can put the pawns on white and just try to get more space. Very nice c5 move, which gives white this c4 square for the knight to improve the position. The bishops should be traded, and then we're going to see a knight there, very likely. Rook coming to the d file. Okay. So we have some kind of a Catalan, right? Not some kind, definitely Catalan. The bishop in f4. Interesting. Usually people go queen c2. The bishop doesn't go, I mean, there's various lines. You can also put it there and put the knight to d2 and put the rooks on central files, but it looks like here white decided to switch it up a bit. Leaves the bishop in f4 because when you take it, pawn takes, which will reinforce a bit the center by controlling e5. e3 will be played to strengthen everything, and in some situations we also have king h1 bringing the rook on the g file. Very nice. King h1. And now I don't know why d5. D5. White is trying to get the queen ready for the attack. Rook g1 would allow black to potentially capture here. So d5 was played, and now I see a red move. I don't think there's anything too wrong about that. Maybe white could have just taken the pawn though. That seems like a free pawn that Alice did not take. She came back. And now once again did not take the pawn in b7, which seems like a free pawn. She chose not to take it, and okay. Looks like the game started showing up. I think there was like a glitch or something. So we had this center gambit. Not even a gambit game or something. I think it's called queen g5. So the girls went for an endgame quite fast here. Look at that nice improvement, right? The knight goes to a better square. Bishop can be captured. Bishop pair, castle. I like white's approach. This is necessary, right? The knight was attacked. Okay, rook g6. No, knight a4. Rook g6, maybe bishop d3. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Black's king is in trouble. I see some mating nets, like you suddenly imagine bishop coming to f2 somehow, rook coming over here. Something like that could happen, so we definitely need to be looking for ideas here. Okay. Alrighty, and the last board that we have, and I think we kind of reviewed all of the girls' games, at least those that were live. We had a Caro-Kann, Elizabeth against Sarah, and this line. Two knights, I think it's called. Yeah, be careful, you guys probably know this, right? If you do this, and then, what is that trap? 97. Something like this. Do not make this blunder. You guys know it, right? Hopefully you guys know it. I think I've seen someone fall for it, like someone super, like in a blitz super fast. Like every time I play the Caro-Kann, I'm so scared of not falling for something with the queen in e2. One time I messed up my move orders, and I didn't fall for that, but they almost fell for something on f7, and when I pushed e6, there were some sacrifices. I was so scared that something would happen, but thankfully nothing happened. Oh, and this is like a cute little tactic that you guys should know. And goes to e5, puts pressure, threatens to take, and then you can't take the queen, right? This is the trap because of the mate. So queen e2, and now e6, sorry, knight e5, e6, queen e2, because now, you know, there's no more mate, and you're back to normal positions. Of course, after bishop g5, white is threatening to take the knight, so you have to move it. And these are just some normal position that resulted out of the Caro. We'll have to wait and see how the game pans out. So as you guys know, there's some small glitch with my Streamlabs, so we are not taking the break the normal way. I'll just mute my mic, take a short break, and I'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes. Hopefully you guys will still be here. Don't go anywhere. I want to make sure that I get a bit of rest. We've recovered everything. I will check also that the games are there, hopefully, for the open section. So it'll be set. And yeah, I'll see you guys in about 5 to 10 minutes. But this I try to utilize this commentary as a means to train as I ask you guys questions about what's going on in the position. We're not using the engine other than this bar, which is a bit distracting at times, but you know, but it's just like forcing yourself to understand positions without the help of the engine is very important, and I think it's a good part of training, and hopefully, you know, this will be keeping me in chess, like I like to say, like it's just chess mode, and all I have to do the last 3 days before the tournament is opening prep, just kind of figure out what I'm gonna be playing, and then just go and play, right? For fun. But let us see what has happened on this board. We're going back to the open section, right? So this is board 1 in under 18. We have Aditya Das against Zoe. And, you know, from all the trades, clearly White's got a tiny little bit of advantage due to that, you know, isolated pawn. These 2 pawns are also not quite ideal, but, you know, Black is going to try to maintain some pressure on C2 so that the D6 pawn won't be able to be captured just yet. This just is not so easy now, actually, with the both of them being attacked. So A5 was played, and now Aditya decided to actually take the pawn. The question is, can Zoe find sufficient counterplay in this position to be able to get into the game? Just like draw the game, better said. I wonder if there are some other ways, maybe not trading the bishop, but if you don't trade it, that's your bad bishop. So I think she's done the right thing, just that here she can't really maintain both pawns. If she plays a move like rook d8, then this is just going to be captured. So you'd rather give up the d6 pawn rather than give up this, right? Because after you give up this pawn, both of these pawns are isolated. Whereas if you give up the d6 pawn, which is what Zoe did in the game, now those two at least got connected. So you should be able to hold them. And you see with this pawn in b4 is kind of keeping this pawn in c2 behind. So even if White is up a pawn, it's not going to be easy to really take advantage of it for a while. We'll be back to that game. It looks like we have had a few moves in this one. I was mentioning King F8. I think we stopped around this moment. That's how many moves we had. After Bishop C6 check, Black was forced to go King F8 not to lose material, but now it's, you know, it's just temporary. The king is there, but it's gonna have the opportunity to go g6, king g7. No big deal. Just you know, place the king on a better square step by step. Okay, push the bishop back very nicely and brought the knight to d5. I really like how Matthew has approached this position. As for Aaron, he needs to find some counterplay. As I was mentioning to you guys earlier, one of these moves has to be prepared, or else White's bishop will not do that well. What's wrong with that move? What is wrong with that move? Did that move allow something like b4 or trade first, maybe? b4? Yeah, but I wouldn't want to allow the king to be weak. I have a feeling something's up here. Maybe this move. To try to get away the knight from here, and then we'll have b4 ideas. Just avoid the bishop trades. And if you capture now with whichever piece we take back with the pawn, that's basically what White wants. And this will give them a bit of space on the king side. So f3, yeah, I can see why the engine is making it red. Blocks the bishop, gives up this square. G6 very natural. Ah, so he still got 94, but he didn't need f3. F3 could have been, you know, just keeping the bishop opened. Wait, why did black give up that pawn? I'm confused. So bishop b2 clearly has the threat of taking this pawn. I mean, I guess Matthew didn't want to allow this pawn to get to e4, but I'm sure there's some other ways. How? Yeah, no, this would be good for white for sure. Takes and then f45. Maybe rook e8. Just pin the knight so that you cannot capture. And then something like this. Well, now in the worst case we can... No, because still pawn takes. Because I do want to go some bishop g5. It's not ideal, but you know, in the worst case, you can always go back. Going back is not a bad of a it's not a bad of an idea. No, just retreat, regroup, reattack, attack, just to kind of have some, you know, nice things there. Did we have this game? Yeah, we did. This was that Caro, where I was worried about. I was saying that I'm not a huge fan if black would have to put his pawns like this, and it looks like he did. Oh, Iris is also playing in the open section. Okay, now I see. Iris is also a very strong, talented young girl, similar to Zoe. So she's playing in the under 18 open section too. Okay. I will have to probably from later today or tomorrow to show you guys the standings as well, but you can always check them out on chess results, and you guys have I should pin this message so that you guys can see it both on US chess and my account. That way you guys know where to go and check out the pairings and standings and everything for the tournament. Bishop f8 allows some tactics. For example, I don't know. I mean, we could go back, but he also can go back. So what does this bishop f8 allow? Could we take? But that's what she did, and it wasn't good. I mean, it wasn't the best according to that engine. Maybe we should go for... I really want to say some sacrifices here, but it don't work. I mean, or maybe they do. Because if you take knight takes, and you cannot really... Ah. We got this. Maybe black can play queen f6 or something and be safe. So maybe we just take, and now we gotta figure out a way to bring in more pieces to the attack. Maybe something like this, or maybe takes first. If you take with the king, we can maybe queen h6 first check, and then the knight comes in, either to h5 or takes here. Oh, this is a cute missed opportunity. So bishop takes f5, just takes the pawn. You can't take back because this is going to be hanging, right? So you're losing material. And after bishop takes f5, so Iris could have gotten a really good position here. Knight h5, look at this beautiful, no, knight h5, sorry. First takes, then knight h5 or queen h6, depends how black recaptures. Definitely like that allows some defense. This to make sure there's no f6, no nothing, no queen f6. This would have been nice. So Iris missed this opportunity by taking, and now, okay, she still has some pressure on the king, but there's no more pin over here. So if black doesn't mess up to put the rook back, then it's not so easy because, okay, let's just make some random move just to kind of see. If we do something like this, they can just take it and we don't have a follow-up, right? Oh, very fun thing that I want to explain is that queen f6, you may think it works, but this happens. So be very careful. You may think you can bring the queen to defend, but you may not, okay? Because now you have to put it there. And I think white can even sack. Maybe not. It's too much. Let's not sack. But okay, wait. But okay. Maybe these were threatening this checky. No, this is really nice for white. I love this. It's kind of a cute little idea. So do not place your queen on f6, okay? You think you're bringing it for the defense, but you're not. Don't fall for that trap. Please, 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 please. Okay, so Iris does have a bit of a pressure. Times are about the same. We'll be back. We'll be back. Shonak, on the other hand, has this kind of nice positional position where, you know, from that English, we got to trade the black Stark square bishop. We got to infiltrate, well, place a knight in the center, force the trade. Now we got a bit more space, kind of obvious. And now he's attempting the doubling, the bringing the rook to h4 in order to mate black's king. So now black has to be super cautious. So rook c8, now rook dt4. Keep that protected. You do want to go to h4. Now you can say, but why didn't you go now? Well, oopsie daisy. Careful not to get mated yourself, right? Because you don't have any escape on top. So this happens, followed by rook c2 and mate. So. That's why rook d4 was played. Now he's keeping this rook protected. If you take, I think, which just happened, now I think this is the move that white should play. If you take like this, maybe you can do that too. Because basically if black makes this blunder, then we go to h4 and we get to take h7 and then there's mate, right? So what's a good move for black to maintain the equality? Well, you need to keep the queen on the diagonal to have that pawn under attack, right? So that you don't allow the rook to move. For example, if you do something like this, I think, should we go a4, queen a6? Now, what's the best approach for white now? What do you guys think? Maybe king f1? This is kind of a nice prophylactic idea. King f1, protecting the pawn, threatening rook h4, you can't stop it, right? So black definitely only has one move in that position, and I don't know what to do, so we're looking now. After rook takes c4, how is black going to make sure that his king will not get mated? He does not have time for pawn pushes that I can see, Could be like f6, rook f8, rook f7. But then there'll be rook c8 mate. Well, I guess rook f8 and it would be like this. Yeah, wow. That's suspiciously suspicious. f6. I mean, this is typical, but I'm just saying, like, it's kind of funny. Like, so now when white does this prophylactic idea, oh, now maybe we can even take, because if you go rook h4, oh, okay, maybe not rook f8, rook f7. How about take the pawn, queen f7? Okay, okay. All right, that makes more sense. So this is the current position. Shonak is deciding, should I take with a pawn and just then this pawn will be weaker long term, or should I take with a rook to still have the threat of going king f1 prophylactic and then rook h4? But that would allow the move f6. And by the way, f6 has to be played first. I showed you guys already, if you take there, you're gonna lose because you don't have a way to defend now. So the move order does matter. But now after f6, you know, this pawn needs to be protected. Maybe white can find some way to do so. Maybe e4, or maybe just retreat with the queen to d2 and just switch over now. I think that would make some sense. And then we still have ideas with h4, h5. Because you have more space, you can slide over from one side to the other. That's a cool thing about these types of positions. But yeah, I think Shonak is still deciding which one of those to be played. Moving on to the next. Oh, this is over. Oh, this was the game that we didn't see. And it's Timur Calaberda. Oh. This game we did not see at all. It wasn't live earlier, so let's catch up with it. We had a Najdorf e6. Sozin, right? Sozin Fischer liked to play this with the white pieces. You guys have mentioned that in the past. I knew that too, surprisingly. Bishop g5, bishop e7, queen f3. Okay, seems like theoretical so far. White has, I think, the perfect setup. I am a pawn in the center, bishop's out, the king is castled, the rook's on central files. There's nothing else that you can expect from a position. And seems that black was not familiar with this position because he did not castle, which I think is the move for black here. Because, you know, with the rooks here, there's no attack, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what black should have done. But it seems that he played knight c5, and that is a known or unknown blunder. Oh, do you guys, this might be the game that we have to have this as the game of the day, because, I mean, this shows something that is very hard for me to admit. You gotta know your openings well. Sad story. I said sad story because recently I've been told I don't know my openings well. And the person who told me that is totally right, and I just didn't want to admit it because, you know, it's kind of hard when someone tells you the truth. You don't want to admit it at first because it's hard. It's hard to admit you're not good at something, at least for me. Do you guys know how white should continue in this position? This is kind of a typical idea for the Sicilian. Even I, who don't know much, I have seen it before, not in this position, but I have seen this idea. There are two ideas that are or three ideas in the Sicilian, or four. The more I think about them, the more I know more. Wow, this is amazing. Sabina is discovering her knowledge on stream. That's way too funny. Anyways, the ideas that I know from the Sicilian, particularly when you have a bishop in b3. Like the first one I remember I fell for as a kid was the sacrificing e6 in some situations when the knight is still in d7 and there's a queen in d8. This is quite a typical sacrifice that you encounter in various Sicilians, right? So that's one. Sorry. Other ones that are quite typical are actually when you have a queen in f3 or bring a bishop e2 f3. In some Sicilians, there's this idea with e5 for white to open up the bishop, hit the rook, you know. Another very typical especially if you got the king in the center and the e file ready to be opened, is placing a knight in the middle of the board, sacrificing the knight, and things. Another idea is to actually make a sacrifice on b5. Wait, all of my ideas should have stayed there. Hey, I want you there. Don't you go away. Aw. Don't you want to have my arrows? Oh, it's because I wasn't doing the right thing. Yeah. So that is one. This is one. This is one to open up there. And it would be like a fork, right? Attacking the knight and the rook. Another typical one is a sacrifice in b5. Sometimes it's a bishop that sacrifices, right? And then the knight comes. And last but not least, I'm sure there are a few others, but these are the tactical ones that I've seen recurring a lot from White's perspective, is the one that was actually played in the game by Andreas, and that was the move knight f5. So you can sack either one of the knights, but here knight f5 looks gorgeous because we're keeping the pressure pretty much everywhere over here. If I did this, would it have shown it? No. Yeah. I want to see if it showed it differently. So look at this. Look at this beautiful move. The point is, if you take, I don't know what the point is, but I think it's not that. Is it take? Yeah. Okay, at least one thing I can figure out. Take the knight, and now if you take with the bishop, then we take, my bad. So this is a check rook, right? Combining it with the other idea that I told you earlier, right? That pawn disappearing and then the diagonal opening up. If you take with the pawn, I think it's knight d5 first, and then we take. You move the queen somewhere, and then we take, and now we're gonna have, oh no, we don't take. Do we take an e7? I think we take an e7, then we take. Then we take an f5, opening up the queen, opening up the rook. Sad. Oh, this is a tough one for Timur. And beautiful one for Andreas. I mean, there's always someone who's gonna be happier in a game of chess. So knight f5, very nice tactical idea. The knight cannot be captured, so Timur went for knight takes b3, intermediate move, hoping that at least getting rid of the bishop will not create too much damage on his king, but now he doesn't quite have a way to protect everything, right? There's quite a lot of things being necessarily to be protected, and now what's the best way? I mean, this is at least one that I see. This is probably the easiest one that we win at least a pawn, but I feel like there's plenty more ideas. Like this could be one, and then e5, right? Because we're attacking there, the knight is pinned, the rook is hanging. This would not look good for black. So Timur decided to take the knight in this position, and now bishop takes f6. You gotta take like that. If you take with the bishop, you can go either e5 or just take, or knight d5. Too many probably take, and knight d5. Knight d5 also could work, but better take. Yeah, why block? We block the queen, no need. We do this, check, but check rook. So he took with the pawn, and now it's just a matter of keep the king of blacks in the center. And black might have thought, well, I survived. I traded everything. My pieces are safe. My king is safe. Nothing to be worried about. And suddenly, check this out. Check. Now, if you go with the king back, this pawn will fall, right? Wherever you go, this pawn falls, and then a bunch of other fall. That's actually what he ended up doing. And if you go queen d7, what does white do? Well, rook takes e6 check, trying to deflect the king from the queen. You gotta take rook e1 check. You gotta move the king. This queen is gonna fall, and white wins the game. Brilliantly played game by Andreas. Like, really, wow. I'm amazed. I'm amazed by how nicely this game went. It's definitely a lesson to be mindful about. This will be my YouTube recap. Definitely at the end of the stream. What have we got here? Oh, this is that game that I told you. Do you guys remember I told you that's gonna be blocked, and then at some point you can't break with f4 because this bishop will be open? Look at what white did. F4. What? No, you cannot do that. Pranav, you cannot play f4. Do not. Be mindful, guys. Be mindful of what how you're helping your opponent to do things. Right here, after f4, we are helping him. We're helping him so much because that bishop will be opened. And I don't know what happened in the game, but that bishop opened is not a fun thing to deal with as white. Don't tell me that. What? Come on. Ah, he just repeated 2 times to get some extra time, and now he got the material. Now black's gonna be on his way to win. This is way too good. White's made the wrong approach with f4. That was definitely a wrong one, unfortunately, for him. Okay, still going this game. This position is, well, this pawn is weak. Just need to get your pieces regrouped. I don't think there's any attack, so maybe come on the d file, double up, and when you're ready you can move the knight and try to attack on the queen side of the board. Queen d8. I think chess.com's engine sometimes is acting out. Why could this move be so bad? Was this an option? No, the queen is not trapped. Why would this move be bad? Probably there was a better move, maybe g4. I don't see anything wrong with this move. c5? Maybe c5. Yeah. Okay, g4. g4 is the typical plan for white, right? That there's this hook. The center is not ready to be open, so we don't need to be necessarily rushing for the castle. That's why it marks castle as a mistake, but it's not really a mistake. What's been going on in Steven's game? So what's Steven trying to do? He's trying to get his rook activated over there. This seems fine to keep the position, keep the 7th rank controlled. Oh, they agreed on a draw. Oh, I see. Okay. They agreed on a draw in this position. Okay, sure. Why not? Hi there, Christensen. How are you doing? Okay, this king is not ideal. White has a couple of, you know, some pieces pressuring black's king, but black should be fine. Okay, looks like white had this little tactic planned, and I guess what was black's best move? Maybe this happened. Yeah. Okay, it's all forcing. Just it leads to a bunch of trades. Probably in this position, there's Those slightly better placement of the queen. I don't know if this could have been it, because if you just take here and just try to get 2 pieces for the rook, probably you should take that rook, and now, I don't know if king takes or rook takes, both seem fine. And then black would remain with 2 pieces, but the way the game went, it was not, so some missed opportunity there. Ted's. Do you guys remember yesterday's game? Ted had this queen endgame and he was able to outplay his opponent because he kind of infiltrated with the queen in his opponent's territory. I feel that today we're gonna see something similar here in this endgame, though at this point I don't see how white's queen can get infiltrated, but it's more like black's, but we'll see. Let's see if Ted manages to trick his opponent as well. We got an interesting endgame here with the bishop for 2 pawns, but white's king is this is interesting. Black needs to be careful with his king because now rook h6. I was thinking of a potential sacrifice in f5, but it's not working. I was thinking to do something like this, because you can't take like this because of this check and you lose the rook, but the problem is black recaptures with the king, and I don't think we have more than perpetual check here. So let's come up with a different idea here for white. Well, taking that pawn is wise. Now white has a pass pawn too, so maybe white will be able to start pushing it. You know, it's nice that black has 3 protected pass pawns, but they are not advanced enough that would make this bishop really worse, I think. So, I don't know. If I were black, I would attempt some ways to try to find some perpetual check, because it's not so easy otherwise. Okay, white is up a pawn and a compensation here. That pawn will be promoted. Aww! Oh, we had a nice mate here by white. Okay, so looks like Lucas won his game. And another nice mate by Ilani. This was the game that I was mentioning. It was a long time ago. A really long time ago. Yeah, remember how in this position white could have gotten more advantage had he taken here, but it seems that what he did also helped him get a very good position. Probably white did blunder at some point. Bishop takes f3. Maybe black, no. Maybe rook here should have been played. Black needs to get some activity because the 2 bishops will be very unpleasant in combination against the knight. And we caught up with the open section. Let's get back to the girls section and see what we may have missed. Alright, Jasmine is up a pawn. No, rook and knight and you. If the e5 pawn falls, it shouldn't be hard for white to win. While that pawn is still there, might require a bit more precision, but I think she should be able to convert this without much trouble. Okay, we have to catch up with this game of Laura's. We were around here earlier where I was feeling that white did not necessarily need to get rid of her isolated pawn just yet. But maybe Laura just wanted to choose more of a defensive, like more of a symmetrical kind of position. So now she just has the bishop pair. That's her sole advantage here, bishop pair. Mm-hmm. Hmm. I was looking at this move for a bit because I did not like the way, obviously, Laura allowed the knight to get on a better square. But if we take, I think we should be fine here with white. We're giving up the bishop here, but we're not allowing that active knight. So what's interesting about this position, despite these bishops being far away, this pawn is a long-term weakness, which black will eventually win. What about bishop e5 instead of bishop e4? Bishop e5, doesn't that allow black to just take the bishop? Momo? Unless you didn't mean in this position, but here there was no way to do something. In that position you're losing, unfortunately, a piece, so you cannot do that. Maybe you meant something else. I don't know how much earlier. Ah, you didn't see the bishop. I see. Okay, no worries. Okay, I think this game we had not been able to see it. I think this had not shown earlier, so let's catch up with it. So we had a Larsen, like with b3, right? Knight f3 and b3, or b3 first move is called the Larsen. Okay, and this is actually kind of interesting, right? We're playing a reverse Nimzo Indian, right? With white pieces. As I was telling you earlier, I always want to compare with something that you know. So white's plan is to make sure the knight in e5 is supported, to bring a new piece into the game, and then, you know, castle, and eventually a kingside attack. Nice maneuvers by black to keep, you know, the center control, because sometimes white also goes for e4, and Ankita went for g4. She's going for the serious attack. Okay, castle was not really necessary because the center is closed. There's no rush in doing that. Maybe knight f3 could have been played, but okay, castle is it's not a bad move, as the engine says. Oh, c4, that's a bit scary to me, because you're trying to open up or allow some trades on your I guess you wanted to play king c2, but I would not have played c4. Oh, not have played c4. Maybe g5, and is there something here? No, if this happens, we can go back and we'll be fine. So if they take, is there a way for black? Yeah, probably something like this to try to trade. So we need to be super mindful of how to deal with that situation. The problem is after this, we cannot really go here Because a3 will be played, the knight will move away, and that pawn will be under attack. That's why castle probably was not a very wise decision from white side. I guess here a4 could have been a move to be considered, but again, you know, black would go queen c7 followed by b5, and it might not be that hard for them to open up the position. Okay, so white attempted the c4, and now that's a nice idea. Bring the knight to b4, bring the queen in through a5. Black's gonna have some pressure here. Knight b1, knight b4. See, black did not push any of these pawns, which is gonna make white's life very difficult to actually open up the position on the king side. That's why, you know, you wanna be mindful of what you do. So lots of pieces got traded in this position. And now black's queen is kind of out of play. And when she brings it back, it's not the right moment. And probably the h file. This pawn is gonna be an issue. You see, white already has a passed pawn for the endgame if we trade pieces. Black does not. Black requires a few moves to prepare it. That's why this endgame is better for white. If white manages to trade queens, I think the rook endgame white has huge chances to win. But queens don't need to be traded necessarily. We can also try to figure out how we can bring the rook to attack black's king. If somehow we could get it on the h file, obviously we can't go there right now. But we need to find a path. Maybe rook d2. With the idea rook h2. Oh, she did play it. She did play it, okay. Alright, check, king a2. And we'll be back. We'll be back to see what goes on further here. Okay, so white's won a pawn, but it's a double D pawn. It's not gonna be easy for white to improve, but we'll see if Chloe manages to. This is a position. This is that endgame that I told you. We'll have to see whether the two minor pieces will be stronger than the rook or not. But I did like how white captured the pawn in a7, and now we'll have some opportunities to try to create a pass. Now it's two exchanges, basically. No, it's two rooks for three minor pieces. How did this actually happen? Ah, I see. So black would not... I think I was suggesting... What was I suggesting in this position? It wasn't here that I was suggesting. After this move? White problem is bishop c4. I have the feeling white should have tried to activate the rooks, because if you get both your rooks there, or maybe rook c6 to put pressure here, that would give white some nice play. Oh, black does not have an easy life here. We are preparing for b4 a5 at some point. Okay. King a2. And then we're preparing for b4 a5. Two rooks are pretty strong. Well, white is down a piece from earlier. This pawn proves to be the shield that black really needs in order to keep the king out of harm's way. And I think Rowan could be on her way to win that, win that game. And this game, It's like a Sicilian, right? With reverse colors. I don't know why rook there was play. Why not rook here? It makes more sense to put pressure. I don't know why she put the rook on e8. There could be some DGT errors here. Possible. No, because more moves have shown. Maybe no DGT error. Okay, she wants to put her rooks on central files, but I mean, I have the feeling you can just try to double the D pawn and try to win it. That could seem a bit more natural. Okay, Isabella looks like she won this. What have we got here? Was this another one of those Sicilian? No, this was a Queen's Gambit. I don't remember this game. Was it not there earlier? Okay, so this is a Queen's Gambit accepted where black attempts the defending of the pawn. I had to deal with this at some point and I was always worried, so I'm actually curious how white played here because you have a4, you give up this square, so this is an idea that black can utilize. And you need to make sure you figure out a way to get it back, or at least focus on the center. So bishop f4, bishop e2. So she gives up that pawn to take c7, chase this knight away, and attempt to take the c4 pawn after. Black doesn't go back. If black goes back, I wonder if we take with the knight or with the bishop. Knight with the knight, because we can play knight b6 next, and this is going to be quite annoying. So bishop b4. Oh, black blundered. Black probably should go for this. Don't do this, I think, because of this. But you don't need to do it yet. Go bishop d7, followed by bishop c6. This is hanging as well. Black seems to be having a pretty good position. I hope you guys agree about that. Bishop takes c3. Oh, she messed up the order. She messed up the order. I was like, oh man, that's sad. Because now there's check. She probably just messed up the order. She touched the wrong thing. And now that knight is hanging. Okay, with an exchange down. Oh, it's tough. And then white went on to win. Yeah, this is a pity because it happened so early in the game. It's 9 a.m. You're just waking up, kind of like me, although I woke up at 7. Regina woke me up at 6, actually. And now she's sleeping. She's very happy, for those of you who know my cat. She's very happy. I did not get up to feed her at 5 or 6 a.m., whatever it was. I was not a good mom to her, but she now she's just enjoying a nap, and she woke me up that early. Cats. Okay, moving on. That was a tough blunder by white. Oh, that seems fine. Good position for white. And this is the current position. Okay, slightly better for white. Extra pawn and some weaknesses for black. We need to do some rook a6 maybe. Maybe we'll have some rook a6 and then suddenly think about some sacrifices in h6. I'm not sure if it will happen, but if it does, it will be nice. Amy had a better position here. She still does. Okay, well, maybe not as much better as she had it earlier. Did she trade something wrong here? Oh, why did she go... Wait. Why did she go knight g4 here? Is this not working? This would be my choice. Trying to push more, to put more pressure there. I guess she was trying to bring the rook. Yeah, but these positions you don't really get an attack because it's locked. You know, white's attack will fade away, and black will get back with a5 b4. Gotta figure out what to do next. What have we got here? When was the piece won by black? That's shocking to me a bit. So Christine was trying to be fancy, and I like fancy. I love fancy, so hang the knight. But she probably forgot that she needs to take it first. She thought she has time to do this in between move, but now after rook takes, the knight is protected, and she doesn't have time to go e5, which she thought. I mean, she does, but the problem is she probably missed this move. And this knight is pinned, which means now if you actually take the knight, your rook is hanging, and I think that's what happened. Calculation and visualizing the board is very important in chess, and sometimes it's easy to miss things when we're trying too hard to make things work. My sound is a bit low. Okay, let's see what I can do about it. I can put it higher, but like how? I don't want to yell at some point and then suddenly you get freaked out. But I can certainly, but it was always like this. Huh, that's surprising. Let's see. Sounds good now? Okay. Well, thanks for letting me know. It's interesting. Because I had it on the highest, you know? Maybe I should just put it on the highest. But if I yell, then... Oh, yeah, you're right. It doesn't go to the red. Huh. I didn't touch anything. I'm gonna get a new... Okay. I'm gonna get a new... I think I'm gonna just get a new mic. I've had this for a while. It's been nice and all, but maybe it's time to upgrade. I found the one that I used for seniors, JK. Do you think that was good? Because that was one that I borrowed from someone from there, and I kind of liked it. So if you say yes, then I guess I'm gonna gift myself that for Christmas. I'm just gonna, maybe I should just put it on my list gift gift list. You know how people like used to make their gifts or what they want for Christmas? Maybe I should just make a list and send it to everyone. It was a bit louder. Yeah, this is a different microphone, but I never had issues with it, but probably it's a bit further from me, so maybe that's why. I'll be mindful about that. Okay. I've increased the loudness, so hopefully we should be good to go. Where are we? Where's the game? Here. Okay. So this is a PT for white, but very good for Celine, I guess, because now, and I think I know Celine, because now she just won a piece, and okay, with the piece up, she should not have trouble converting this. So we'll be back and see that she did, and we got another Celine here who drew her game. And what happened over here? Some trades. Okay. Do you remember this was a game that I was telling you, ooh, black should be careful about the mating net? There's some mating nets that are coming up around here. I don't know what's the best way to do it, but we'll, you know, white will have to find some. But why? Wait, this game is a draw? What? What, black offered the draw and white accepted it? No! I mean, I don't know any of the players, but wow! That's a lucky one for black. It's definitely a lucky one because, I mean, think about it. You know? This is definitely a lucky save. I mean, you're staying on various mating nets. I feel that even this may work. Oh no, it doesn't, because after this the bishop is protected. Okay. Okay, I can't go that that's crazy. But okay, what can we go bishop c2? This is one way to put pressure. We can go f5. I mean, the worst case we can take the pawn, right? Because now the bishop is locked. What else could we do? Wow, such a lucky one for black. A good moment, good instincts to offer a draw. The opponent didn't realize that they were doing much better here. What else could we do with white here to have kind of a good position? And we could technically check, and then the king has to go here. And now the king is in our territory even more. Okay. I want to be fancy, okay? So bear with me. It's not working, but I just wanted to show you a fancy idea, okay? So if black takes, I got this fancy idea. I just want to show you a fancy idea. I know it's not working. Isn't this kind of fancy? Look at where you dragged black's king. Now we're threatening mate, so you have to go there. And now we just need to figure out more ways to improve. But okay, we're up a piece, so this shouldn't be an issue. It's kind of cute. No, because it doesn't really work because black is not forced to take the knight, you know? This is kind of wishful thinking. I always tell my students, you know, you got to be mindful about wishful thinking. You can't make a move praying that your opponent is going to make a mistake. You need to make a move that makes sense, that's going to be good for you. So now talking about that, could we try to be fancy by taking here? I think so, right? So now you see the idea and you're like, okay, let me force it, right? So we go knight takes d5, you take. Now what's the best way to approach this? Can we go here? And then can we go here? Yes, right? So this is forcing, right? So you see an idea, and if you really try to make it work, try to make sure that you make it forcing, that it actually happens. So whatever you want to happen actually happens, or else it won't. But this is really cute. Like, really, look at that. Knight takes d5. So nice. And you can't take. So if you can't take and you play something like this to keep your bishop protected, well, everything's gonna fall. And that's the reason why I think black has offered draw in the right moment, you know? Because, yeah, look at this. So check, no other moves, you gotta go there, and then take. Stephen, don't be so tough on yourself. Don't be so tough on yourself. I think you just put too much pressure on yourself for this tournament. You put too much pressure on yourself. Take this time, eat some good food, do some tactics, be relaxed a bit, do some puzzle rush, puzzle storm, get a bit of, you know, not too much of it, but get a bit of, you know, tactical ideas in your system, and then go for some walk, take some fresh air. You have 2 rounds today, so it's gonna be tough. So if you can go get a bit of rest outside, like fresh air is really gonna do good. Make sure you're well dressed because I think it's cold. I just opened the door today to get I had a package, right? I told you guys I got these drinks, which actually is pretty good. This is better than whatever I've had in the past. Definitely need to order more. But Oh, thanks so much for the bits, Christensen. And yeah, get some fresh air, and you know, just forget about the first 4 rounds. You got a tournament of 5 rounds starting this afternoon. Okay? That's the mindset. Don't give up. Okie dokie dokie, and this is the last game in the girls section, so I caught up with everything once again. Yeah. Slight advantage for white due to the knight there, but if black manages to get the bishop out, should be fine. It's not so easy to do it, but I think you can just do this. Don't be afraid that they'll take it. There's not that much that will happen. All right, well, I think it's time I take another short break. I'll leave you guys with what's the current position in this one. Is this the current position? No. So now that Aditya won that pawn, he's gonna try to improve, probably. Get some space on the king side. Try not to blunder some material. Zoe is trying to trade queens to get in a rook endgame where she has the most chances to draw. Oh, he dropped that pawn. For this, was it worth it? Oh, this is a cute idea. A3 and then A4. I do not know why he didn't go A4 directly. Was this a thing? I mean, this was possible anyways, but he could have just gone A4. But maybe he thought he was gonna have some ideas. Just don't make this blunder. Oh, it's not even a blunder? What does white do here? Rook. Rook F2. White is safe, no mate. So he could have even taken him. Okay, so let us see what has been going on in the open section, and then we'll go to the girls section. So when we left off, well, when I left, temporarily left, we did see that white was up a pawn and was attempting to progress the position, which of course is not too easy to do because black is active, and this pawn in b4, whether with a pawn in a5 or not, does keep the c pawn from advancing. Besides, white's king is kind of bound to stay there to protect, same as the rook in c1, so that's why it's not so easy for white to really progress this position. It's not going to happen that easily. A queen h4 check seems to have been played, and okay, we'll see these question marks on and off here because there's probably some way for black to maintain the position, but white needs to find an improvement. To tell the truth, I'm thinking something like this, because if we do manage to get black's king weak, I think we'll have some chances. That's what I'm thinking. For example, if you play queen c3 here, this is what I'm thinking. Okay, that bar drops a bit, but I don't see otherwise. I would be scared to push a5, even if the engine would say a5 is fine. Like, let's just put it to c. It does not say it's fine, thank goodness. Because I was just gonna emphasize that even if it were, there's no way I would go for a5. Because, you know, like, you are weakening the a file. And you don't know how at some point you might forget about it. So I would not be focused on trying to push that pawn, that's for sure. Like, that's something you definitely want to be mindful about. So something like that, not recommended, but other things, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Going on to board 2. It seemed that Aaron was getting back into the position after those trades happened, because now there's nothing passive anymore on White's side, and he could try to focus on improving the position, and it looks like that's kind of what he did. F5. That weakens a bit the 7th rank. I don't think it was necessary. Maybe King F8? To try to trade some stuff on the E file? F5, you know, when you don't know what to do, what I recommend is do something that improves your position rather than weakening it. This can clearly be seen as a weakness in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong, but the 7th rank seems to be a bit in trouble for black. So I think White could have taken, and what's the evaluation of this endgame? White is up a pawn, so it should have some chances to win for sure. But White took, or maybe just go rook e1. Don't trade, just go rook e1. Maintain the pressure. There's no need to force things. Okay, now we'll have to see whether Aaron manages to outplay his opponent in this queen endgame, because it's not easy. But you need to definitely get your queen activated somehow. C3 with the idea to go d4 or something. Maybe this is what he could have done, or maybe this to control the entire center. No, not liked that much. Yeah, if you got g4, now you're on the right path, because if you get g5, okay, now he creates a passed pawn, and black's queen, because g5 is happening, black's king will have to stay on the 7th rank or so to defend, and I think white can continue improving. No, this is definitely going in Aaron's favor. There's no way black's gonna be able to activate the queen to create damage. There's no way. Okay, so Aaron's on his way to win. What have we got in this game with Iris? If you guys remember earlier in the game, Iris had this really cool idea here. And that was, what was it after bishop f8? Takes is what she did, but she could have taken bishop takes f5 and take advantage of the pin on the e file, since you can't recapture like that. And when you take back this way, we had the opportunity to take in f8, depending with what you capture back, knight h5, queen h6, and with all of black's pieces, or most of black's pieces on the queen side, white would have had a dominating attack for sure. But she missed that opportunity and went for the trade, and seems that she still was able to... she had to trade queens, okay. Now it's probably kind of equal. Knight might be slightly better than the bishop because it does have some outposts, but... okay, she's still slightly better, but now with both players low on time, we'll have to wait and see if one of them may blunder, because at this point it seems that black can hold on. Put the rook in d6 to keep that protected, and you know, he might be able to push the knight back. He might hold on here. This was that moment that I really liked, right? I was telling you guys that after rook takes e4, what white may want to do is go king f1, prophylactic idea, protect the e2 pawn, and then slide over with the rook in h4 to threaten mate. And the cool move for black to defend was f6. Now it seems that black has found the idea. She just went for f5, which I'm not sure if it's as good as f6. Queen back. This was an idea I was mentioning, right? Because as soon as you weaken, there's nothing else that white can do, and this pawn remains weak. And unless you want to go e4, then you should return and actually take advantage of the fact that you have the c file. Now e4 in this case also probably wouldn't work with the pawn in f5 compared to what I was suggesting, pawn in f6. So now Shonak came back with the queen and is pushing. Oh, why did he give up that pawn? That was unnecessary. Or maybe he just wanted to take. Oh no, this is DGT error. This is DGT error. He probably took an e7. This is some DGT error, guys. Let's see if it fixes the game or not. Okay, this could have been the position, but this could be the current position. But the DGT, there's a DGT error, so just so you know, in case you're watching the game. This was the game that I definitely am gonna do a YouTube video on. Okay, what has happened here? I think we've seen this, right? Oh, wow. Cute. Cute finish. What is a3 working? Maybe we can just take the bishop. Black's down a piece. Oh my god. Oh my goodness, did he blunder? Now he's down a bunch, and he probably doesn't have perpetual. Oh! Wow, this would be a big, huge upset. What just happened? Bishop takes b2. Everything seemed to be going in the right way for black. Okay, he sacked a piece, but white's king is out in the open now. Okay, we have to be cautious. I can understand that now after having tried some slightly outdated moves. But oh, this is not fun. This is definitely not a fun idea. What do we do? What should black do in this position, guys? Because original right, I want to take, but for some reason... No, taking is fine, just not with the queen, because you don't want to trade. Yeah, just take with the rook, and you got your piece back. Oh no, this is a tough blunder. He probably missed rook h2. He probably missed rook h2. That's such a cute move and easy to forget that this bishop protects the rook and that rook wasn't doing anything, and he was thinking, I'm winning here, and he forgot about rook h2. I can tell you that for sure. Okay, this game is definitely going in white's favor. Extra rook. Unless somehow he can get a stalemate. Luckily, it's not very good. What did Henry do in this game? Okay, white is down a pawn, but that a pawn is very, very strong. Very strong. I think it's time to push it. We're just gonna go for it forward, and black will have to stay passive, and then white somehow has to hit f7, win something back, and yeah. Oh, it's a draw? What's wrong with these? What's wrong with these evaluations? Oh, maybe that move didn't even happen. Maybe he played a5 and he offered a draw. Okay, it's possible that that move didn't happen. You know, sometimes the DGT, if you don't set up the kings immediately, it shows extra moves. Maybe that didn't even happen. Okay. This endgame seems to be headed for a draw. Beheaded. Beheaded. Why did black feel the need to take the knight? I don't know. There's something he probably didn't like about this, but because probably he was thinking if he does this, this knight will go somewhere, and then this endgame is equal. So he felt he should have tried further. But there's a move here for black. There's a move. What is the move? Maybe takes, but it's gonna lead to the same thing. Maybe rook somewhere far away. G4, H4, somewhere 4. Maybe H4, no, F4. I don't think there's makes a huge difference. You're just maintaining the pressure just to oh, guys, I see it somewhere on the C file, not to the side like I was gonna do it. Back, because now you can't move the knight. I mean, you can, but it's not ideal because check this out. It's okay. I mean, you could move it and play here, but suddenly you're gonna be pushed with the king further from the king side, and that could create some damage. But after these trades that actually happen in the game, I think this okay. You won the a pawn with 2 rooks. It should be easy for white to hold on to this position. Ronan is gonna try to push. Of course, he's got this extra pawn, but it's gonna be difficult to push it if white manages to put the 2 rooks behind and just try to keep black passive. Well, we got an exchange here for black. White has some pressure, but I don't think it's gonna be enough to hold. We've seen Steven's game. Which game was this? Oh, this was yeah. Nice counter by black. White never got anything on the queen side, and now black has sufficient pieces to put pressure on white's king. Plus this rook stayed in the corner, so it did not help the defense. This game is pretty equal. I haven't caught up with this game in a while. Oh yeah, we remember, guys, like in this position, instead of queen e8, the best move was queen f5, letting them take. And now when we take, you know, they can take one of the rooks, but with the 2 minor pieces, black would have definitely a better position. Instead, queen e8 was played, and now it is white who's pressuring to try to get something out of the position, because yeah. What about knight c6? Maybe something like this. If you go back, I'm feeling some tactics. I'm feeling some tactics are on the way here for white. Worst comes to worst, I believe we can just take the pawn and be up material. But I have the feeling there's something more, something better. I don't know how much this could do, because if you take, yeah, that doesn't do enough. What about this check? King h8. Now if we take, you guys see I'm looking at ideas on the back rank. I'm looking at ideas of queen f7, knight g6, knight f5, maybe knight f5. There's something better here. I just can't put my Okay, I mean, worst comes to worst, like I said, we can just take. Let's just take this. It goes back. Traded some pieces. Extra pawn. Okay. So he missed that opportunity, and this gives black a bit of counterplay on the king side. Nice idea. Rook lift, you know. If you didn't want to attack me, you took a pawn, but now I'm going to try to attack you and make up for the fact. Isn't this on knight? Knight h3. Yeah, knight h3. Check. Shaky. You gotta take it. And now, I don't know why the engine says rook g6 is a mistake. Is there something that you find better here for black in this position? Instead of rook g6? Maybe queen h3. Thanks. Oh my goodness. Queen h3. There's no defense for white. So rook g6, I think, lets the king run away. That's probably what happened in the game. Yeah, he ran away. Wait, why didn't he go here to put... Oh. Maybe this? This saves the game. And this check. King here. Now we can deflection. We can do deflection. And if queen g4 check f3. Check. King e3 to keep this pawn protected. Now if we take, he doesn't take with the queen to allow queen g5 check and grabbing the knight. He's gonna take with the pawn, and now, okay, we don't have anything, so we can't do that. So checking e3, how does black continue? Okay, here you need to have time, and you need to be mindful each move about potential defenses and how you continue putting the pressure, because that king cannot be allowed to escape. Okay, so now you go rook e8. No, sorry, I already said rook e8. Maybe go rook d6. Yeah, rook d6. Wow, tough one. Tough one there. Black wanted to just go for the knight in this position, but now he's up a pawn. Though this is kind of like that first board of Aditya against Zoe, where you know it's queen and two rooks versus queen and two rooks extra pawn. Here's just queen and rook extra pawn. So we'll have to see black's technique of improving, because okay, he's gonna go for some mating nets. So we'll so he was able to convert. This is another huge upset. I feel for Will, because he has tried his best, but defended some. Oh, I told you guys, do you remember that I said Ted was able to outplay his opponent yesterday in a queen endgame, and this was a close position last time, so like it was close, and I was like, okay, we'll have to wait and see. This kid is doing amazing. Like look at that. He's created his counterplay there, brought his queen, in the center, entered in the opponent's territory. I mean, you gotta appreciate the motivation and wish to win. Grabs pawn after pawn after pawn. And okay, eventually he should be able to win. Okay, might not be perfectly played according to the engine, but it's just this idea from an equal position how he outplays the opponents by keep grinding, keep improving the position step by step. You gotta appreciate that. This is that position where I was mentioning black is gonna try to get a draw, but maybe the bishop has proven to be stronger. Okay, now with an extra pawn captured, I think the c-pawn will be on its way. And it was. Okay. Okay, now white just needs to activate the rook on 7th rank and extra piece. Okay, this is not just rook and bishop versus king, it's rook and bishop and pawn, which will lead to a mate. Nice win by white there. And here, oh, that rook got kind of trapped. Okay, if you take, there's promotion. Very nice finish. This, we had seen that mate. And what happened here? Black kind of messed up. And those bishop pairs, the bishop pair was, okay, impossible to stop. Extra material, definitely win for white. Alright, let's catch up with the girls section. So Jasmine was able to outplay her opponent and get to a position where, you know, this rook endgame is gonna be won with an extra pawn. This pawn is hanging, and she's definitely headed to win. Okay, Laura's kind of back into some action here a bit with a bishop pair. She might be able. Ah, she sacked the exchange. She sacked the exchange. I don't know. I mean, she's gonna try to hold on to the position, but if black brings the king on this other side and sacks the rook for the pawn, there's big chances to win. Yeah, pushing her back very nicely, and Sophie is on her way to win this. This is all due to that retreat move earlier by Laura, the bishop retreat, which allowed black to get active. Okay, Paula's on her way to win this rook endgame. What's been happening here? This was a game we didn't spend as much time because they didn't have it available, but I'm loving black's play here. Look at that. Remember the knight came to attack in b4? Check. If you go here, I have the... Oh, no. Maybe rook a2 or something. Ah, rook a2, I can take the knight. Gosh. What is black's best move here? Knight g3. I don't know why I even tried to make anything else but win the exchange. So she went for the exchange and she basically won it all. Natalie won it all and is on her way to win, or she won already? She won. Checkmate. She won with a nice checkmate in the middle of the board. Love that. Ooh. Wow. This is gonna be a 4 queen on the board endgame. Look at that. Both players are supporting their past pawns. White promoted. Now it's black's turn to promote. And the question is, can you try to come up with something with white to improve? Probably not. We'll be back and see. Just wanted to kind of do a quick catch up of... Uh-oh, Chloe's not... How did Chloe get into this position? I thought she was fine. Okay, she was trading everything. Probably miscalculated here. She probably miscalculated. If she goes for this, I think she should be fine. Maybe even knight takes works, because now takes is a blunder. This pawn promotes much faster than any of black's. So black needs to maintain the knight on the board, maybe going here. If we take, they take. And maybe this. Or 93 maybe is more cautious. 93 with a point that whenever you take this pawn, we go there and we take that one, and this should be a draw, right? How do we draw this? How do we get the knight to take the b pawn? What's the path? Maybe through there. Nope. Ah, king e4, sorry. King e4. Oh, it doesn't work. How does white draw here? Just bring the king, my bad. I think just brings the king because the king is in front of the box. Not in front, inside the box now. This is the box of the pawn, and if your king gets in front, you'll be able to stop it. But this should still be a draw. Maybe she had to do this? No. Maybe g4 then. Knight takes, may allow c4. This can be lost easily if you're not careful. Yeah, this requires enough time to calculate, and I don't think Chloe has it. Is now her knight has to go to d1, but the problem is she didn't manage to trade this final pawn. I think her opponent can play here, and this knight is trapped. Oh, black play king c3, this probably works too. Knight a4, king b4. And if you go back, I go here. So unfortunately, Chloe is not going to be able to hold on to this. That is tough. Okay, white is probably won this game already with a mate. Okay, this is so Rowan won nicely. She was winning for quite some time. Wait, wasn't this a winning endgame? Oh no, I confused this game with another one. No, this is A and G, but the pawn is not in A7. White should be winning this, guys. This is a win. All you have to do is just make sure that you go grab the pawn and just go grab it. She did, and black took in G5. So this is a move that she missed. This is very important. This is a very important check or something. I think even this wins rook b7 or rook c7. The point is the white rook cannot stay in front. If it stays in front and gets stuck, then this will be the Ventura position, where black will put the king here, keep the rook somewhere to keep this pawn attacked, wherever it is, or whichever rank it is going to keep it attacked with your rook in front until the king comes to protect. As soon as the king comes to protect, you just keep giving lateral checks, and that's going to be a draw. So this, oh, black didn't know that? Black needs to give this check. And if the king goes there, you just go king here. Because you need to approach, you know, when the rook goes on back rank, you need to go there. And all you do now is just sit until this king approaches, and then you start giving lateral checks until the pawn gets pushed on 7th. Once it gets pushed on 7th, you slide over behind it, and that is the way to draw it. It's called the Ventura position. It's spelled Vancura with C. So if you don't know, you know, check it out here. Black is white keeps not realizing the importance of moving the rook away, because now if the rook goes behind, you put the rook to the side. This way the rook is gonna play the role of a shield against behind checks, so the king will come here, support the pawn push, and everything's gonna be just fine. But here, yeah, black didn't know. Oh, I feel bad, because she's gonna go back and she's gonna be like, oh, I could have drawn. I mean, this is the last chance to try to see if white knows what to do, because if she goes there, this is a draw. You could go rook a2 or rook c2, wherever. So white just needs to now actually come and attack the rook. We'll have to wait and see if she knows. This is the current position. I'm definitely coming back to this endgame, because this is one you gotta know. If you're struggling with endgames, you know, rook endgames are the start to everything. I think we've seen this game, and white had won. Was this a game that I decided to show for my... maybe. Okay, white won this one. What did Amy do? I told you guys, white's attack is kind of done. She still tried on that side of the board, but she's got nothing. Okay, she got lucky. Her opponent gave her some chances. Okay, this is their current position. She might be lucky if she manages to save it with some perpetual check, but I'm not sure, because if this is captured, this hangs, that pawn is a monster. Okay, this was that game that Celine won a piece. Oops. Celine won a piece. And she won. Okay, nice job, Celine. Other Celine is still playing. Extra pawn for white, but opposite color bishops. Big chances this game may end in a draw. Big chances. This was the lucky one, you guys remember I was telling you? We got this cheeky for white, and then grabbing the pawn. Don't feel intimidated. Don't feel intimidated. It's definitely one to remember whatever happened here. So I suggested for black bishop d7. Black needs to develop these two pieces. They're behind. Strategic draw for indeed. Worked out great. Okay, trades off towards a6. Why did she play a6? Why didn't she move her bishop? She just didn't want to allow the activation of the rook, but a6 just gives up a pawn. Well, it doesn't give up a pawn, but now, yeah, technically, because c5 is happening now. Oh, no, Elizabeth, no. You didn't play b3? Okay, this is hard to know. It's not a huge mistake. However, I've played against this, and I believe you're better off you're better off keeping these. Oh, the engine disagrees. Oh, okay. Well, never mind. Okay, then rook c6. No. She took, and I thought, because I had this kind of, between the two it did matter if it was A and B or B and C. I don't understand why the engine is not agreeing with me. I thought this is the best move here. Oh, b4 maybe. b4 is the best move. My bad. Even better. Yeah, not b3. Because I had this, not this exact, on the king side it was different. But this exact kind of pattern with black, and I managed to draw because my opponent did not realize that she could gain some tempos with the pawns. It matters. Every single tempo that you lose matters here for white. So b4, right? So you still make the trade between this and this, but you stay with these two, which now, you know, the rook and two pawns advance easily. So you first push the c to c6, then b5, then rook b7, and that's how you keep going forward. So that's why, like, you're winning a tempo by going b4. Otherwise, you're gonna be behind. So this is the move that Elizabeth should have played, not that, not that. Now here, black might have chances because black. Now these pawns are as advanced as these two, so I think. Okay, the only plus that white has is that the king is close by, but we'll see whether. Okay, that was not nice. h5, I don't understand. Black was kind of worried about the pawn. If you're worried, just play here. But I think black can play f5. Takes, check. I'm happy with the trades. All takes. All trades are good. Goodies. So what happened here? Sad. Oh, this is a sad blunder. I think Elizabeth probably thought she's gonna go to f6, and she probably was about to, and then she realized, oh my goodness, I'm getting mated. Because king g5, yeah. She okay, just go king e3, let them take. You go a6, they have to go back. You go a7, or whatever, they give you a check first. It's no big deal because you can go up, and then they give you one more check, and then you go up. You know, they still have to go there. You go a7, goes here, check, and promote. Simple. This would have been very simple. Unfortunately, Elizabeth seems to have forgotten that the pawn is now protected, and now I think black should be able to draw. Oh no, black can play for a win now. Oh, they agreed on a draw? Oh. Lucky save. Lucky save, Elizabeth. Okay, I think black can still try to play for a win here. Like, this is maybe f5. f5 to have this freedom of bringing the king here. King g5 is not helping because check and king f6 anyways. And if f5 would have been played, black can just go for a way to win. This is a very instructive endgame that I definitely need to show as a video, so I'm just gonna go back to that moment and kind of explain it. This will be part of the video cuts that we'll be doing at the end. Wow. Well, at least she saved it, you know, because after king g5 she could have gotten to lose. Let's catch up and see what happened here. So Jasmine won her game. What else have we got? Oh, what's happening here? Oh, okay, so because of the activity, Sophie was able to win a nice fashion. Paula won. Okay, we've seen this. The players accepted a draw here. Okay. 4 queens on the board. You don't see it that often in tournaments. It's always kind of cool to see 4 queens on the board. Gotta be mindful for checkmating ideas, check queens and stuff. I don't even know. I feel that the correct move here for black is something like this. As long as queen here doesn't do anything, it probably does. So there's another place that you can move that queen in order to combine. Like, you need to coordinate them. Right now they're not coordinated. So let's see, what would that square be? Or maybe something like, maybe not that queen, maybe this one here. But I guess the trade would lead to, what would the move be? Somewhere where you're threatening things, but you're also making sure that you don't lose. If you go here, then there will be queen e4 check. Is it just e5? No. Maybe it's king h6. I'm just choosing all these weird moves. Could be queen h6. It would be too much to go there. I'm having trouble figuring out what move should black play here. Maybe this. That's what she played, sorry. Or we don't know. Because white does not have any check, so in a way, it just feels like there should be a move. I just can't find it. Because it's either I move the queen from f5, which will allow, you know, some checks here, or the pawn in f7 would be hanging, or moving the one in c1, but where? I just want to coordinate them somehow. If this is the move, it would be too funny. No. I was just thinking to switch over the queens on that diagonal. I mean, right, because queen f6 allows this check. I mean, maybe it's queen f6. No, it does not. Maybe he goes here. She goes here. No clue. No clue at all. Do you guys have any clue? Like what could happen here? Queen h3 threatens mate and threatens to... I thought I said that move, didn't I? Don't you lose the f7 pawn if you do that? Right? If you go here, I can take, and you might be losing yourself here, Taurus, unfortunately. It's okay, Tors. Do you see how many times I got the draw? What about this? We looked at this. Wait, we looked at this. Wait, why did I stop? Did we look at this? I guess we looked at something. I don't know. We looked at it earlier. I saw it earlier and I didn't see. I don't know. Queen F1 possibly. Okay. Oh, Chloe lost this. I think all the games in the girls section. Wait, what? Wait, why was winning this endgame? What happened? She didn't know. She allowed this? This also allows for a draw. Do you guys know what is white's move to win in this position? This one. Because like normally you don't want, you need to use the king to save yourself, but this king just came all the way here, which means you have that idea to win. So he starts checking you or she. If this is played, you always have the check and then you promote and your king will go away. And they give you checks and you just simply approach the rook and oh sorry, no, what's wrong with this move? Oh, king c7, sorry. So you have to go king b6, my bad. King b6 first, goes here, you go here. Now king c7 does not work because now you just move this rook and then the pawn gets promoted. And this is how white should have won. But she played rook h8. No, yeah, this is the one I call Ventura, yeah. But the drawing mechanism is different. It's not with the rook to the back, it's the rook to the side. Okay, now this is a draw. There's no way to win. Yep. You can give a check, but this rook, you won't be able to ever take it away from here. Okay, so we'll definitely be talking about those. I don't think I'm going to do a full game today because I do like those endgames. So I think I'm just going to focus on the two. There was a nice win. Do you guys remember which one was the nice win? It was in the... Okay, so I'm going to show this for the video. And I'm going to show that draw. And was there a full game that we wanted to look at, guys? Do you remember? It was in the open section for sure. I'm just going to talk about the two endgames. Yeah, Timur's one in the open section, and then for this one, I'll do the two endgames. Let's catch up with the open section and see what's been going on. This game was still in progress when we left off. Is it still in progress or was... It's still in progress. Oh, interesting. So, White decided to go for this two rooks versus the queen now. Actually, you risk nothing, I think, in winning this position, but you have to be careful. I don't know if that was necessary. There's no threat. Maybe she could, maybe not. This is what I wanted, but maybe black has something better to do here. Like this move. So the point is, if you go back to protect, now I take here and... Okay, you take here, but maybe it's not so easy to win. So I decided to protect that pawn, and this is the current position. Aaron was able to win his game. This is quite a nicely played game overall, like nice outplay of the opponent. This game ended up in a draw in the end. This was one where I could have shown the tactic with bishop h6. That was kind of a cute moment. It was a really nice moment here, a tactical moment that I could have shown, but draw. This was the game. Oh my goodness, you guys remember this game? Like, this was the one I was gonna show because it was clear the black was winning. You guys remember? And then black missed this by playing 91, right? Missed the idea rook h2, and I was saying, okay, now it's a piece down position, then it was a rook down position, rook and bishop. I thought, okay, this is over. Look at the final result, guys. He was able to save himself somehow. That's good, you know. That's good. That's a good save for black. This game did end in a draw. Oh wow, Ronan was able to win that endgame? Wow, nicely played. He's definitely improved. When I started working with Ronan, he was just doing openings. I remember we did work quite a bit on endgames. It was a few years back when he was still, you know, 12 or something. But it's nice to see that he's continued his improvement. And oh, this was a draw. Black won, or maybe, yeah. Everything is over.